Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Birds on a Blue Note. We are glad to be back with you after a bit of a while. We got some upgrades in life, got some changes going on, but we are back here to talk the Cardinals with you. I'm happy to have RJ and Zach back with me. How are you boys doing?
Doing better than Zach. Look at this guy.
Yeah,
Sitting on a couch filming? Come on. What
I
is
got the
that?
PS5 headset on.
Just got done playing Fortnite.
You're right. Hey, it was Madden. All right. It's
Okay.
Sure. What? Look at that. The camera's zooming in and out automatically. Totally twitching it over here.
fun.
Okay, ET. All right. So, obviously, a lot has happened since we've been with you guys. Pretty rough, overall 2025 season. A lot of ups and downs, a lot of frustration, some high points. Mason winning the Gold Glove. Congratulations, man. Like any other highlights you guys want to cover just from
Yeah,
the 2025 season?
Ivan Herrera has become that middle order bat that we were kind of hoping Jordan Walker was going to be. He's maybe positionless again going into next season, but the dude can hit, right? So,
They seem
um,
convinced that he's going to be a catcher next year, though, from what I've
if
heard.
I mean, they say it.
a team,
Is it
I
going to
mean,
happen?
how many
Is
catchers do we have
ultimately.
though? We got Bernal, we got Rodriguez, we got Pajes still is on the roster.
Crooks,
Contreras is
Contreras,
still on the roster
technically.
for now. Technically,
Jer
yeah, first
Jimmy
baseman
Crooks. Yeah.
Jimmy Crooks. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of the breakout of Herrera, which I mean, we all know how desperately we needed like one of our guys to actually turn out to be that guy, and it looks like it'll be him. So I mean, you build around him, you build around Win. You hope Walker with the new regime coming in can make some tweaks and become that guy also. And future looks bright. You know, Weatherholt's killed it in the minors last year. I know that doesn't really affect the major league roster so much, but it's good to see that. You know, it's better than like having your top prospect shit the bed in the offseason, right? So for me, that's the big thing is kind of just look towards the future. Um, there's a lot to be excited about, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
How about you, Zach? Anything that stood out to you from 2025?
Burley making Contreras kind of expendable is a big one. His defense all around, whether it's outfield or first base, showed big improvement. Uh, Consistently as a hitter from the start of the year to the end of the year was a big improvement as well. So that was the big thing for me. I don't think we'd be looking at Wilson Contreras. It's a potential trade bait if Burleson doesn't step up, and that's a big one for me.
Yeah, that is very true. Burley having back-to-back years, because again, it wasn't just 25. He came off a pretty solid showing in 24, where he kind of hit the scene, and so to have
But
that
hit a
consistency.
wall in 24. That was the big thing in 25. That getting seeing him in August and September, not totally shit the bed was also pretty nice to see.
Well, I mean, that can happen with the 162 games, but yeah, I mean, so here we are officially. It is the Bloom era of Cardinals baseball, gentlemen.
Called
Mo
it.
is no more.
I did say it
So
was Heim Bloom. Got that right. I think you said Flores, Trev. I said, nah, it's gonna be Bloom.
no, you were 100% right. I thought it was Flores all the way. They had been honestly for years, like they had been setting up Flores as this guy. Don't get me wrong. I am glad that Flores is still on the squad. Like, because ultimately this is kind of like the dream. You still have Flores running everything with the draft, and then you have a guy who's been there in the executive like Bloom, who knows how to work the minor league system. So you get this kind of nice mesh where you're bringing in good prospects, and then Bloom's able to use them to either trade for other guys, bring on other ones. I mean, I'm happy to admit that I was wrong on this one and whatnot, because this seems like I honestly thought if we brought in Bloom, Flores was gone. I thought he'd feel passed over. So I'm glad that was not the case one bit. And Bloom has wasted no time really getting things moving. One of the
With
biggest
the Red Sox
pieces,
specifically.
Yeah,
I mean, go where you're comfortable at the end of the day. We've been dealing with the Red Sox for a long time. They're in AL East, so we don't face them too often. So sending our guys somewhere like there, I'd rather have them go there than to the Dodgers, where we got to face them,
Oh, God.
a bunch of times this season and whatnot. But honestly, the Gray trade caught me by surprise personally, mainly because I thought Gray was one of the pieces that was more safe just because of the contract plus us needing a bit of a layover. But him being able to move Gray and move money for it and actually get a pretty solid return. I mean, I would not be surprised if Willie's gone. I would not be surprised if Nano's gone. But let's talk about the Gray trade a bit more. What are your guys' impressions on that now that we've had a little time to sit with it?
I'll
It
let you
did
go in
take
a sec.
thanks. It did take long for Heim Bloom's fingerprints to be really, really obvious. I think if it's a Mosaic luck trade, we get a lot more high floor, low ceiling type guys. I think Brandon Clark alone is enough to make all of us smile really big. That slider is nasty, and the fastball plays as well. As well as the arm slot, which has kind of been a Cardinals thing since Heim Bloom's got there, it seems like, with Cooper Sherby and Quinn Matthews even kind of comes from kind of an awkward angle. He's over the top, but it's kind of funky. So that and the Richard Fitz, I think he's kind of being looked over a little bit more. Dick Fitz,
Yep.
we've all had those, but but I think he looks a little passed over. That sweeper really looks good. The metrics on it show a lot of really good data. I think if we could start playing that up, and Cardinal system's known for being able to develop changeups really, really well. I think with people have a changeup to build a pair with that sweeper, his fastball's already 96, 97, so there's a lot to like there.
Yeah, here's someone that was having arm issues last season too. So we're looking at like a potential like high upside, kind of low or not low floor, but like high floor, high upside type of pitcher with Dick Fitz also just because he can't hit that 97, 98. And he was dealing with like arm fatigue and like arm issues last season. So that was pretty cool. I think more importantly, when it comes to Bloom, I guess, and this offseason is being able to kind of almost fresh reset this whole roster. Because I know a lot of us were looking at someone like Sonny Gray and someone like Wilson Contreras is like being really tough to move in the first place just because of the contracts and they carry over with that. And I know Contreras specifically has said in the past that he didn't want to be traded. And now he's more open to it. Kind of a similar thing with Arenado last year, putting the kibosh on that deal to Houston. He thought, okay, he's not wanting to be traded and start over again somewhere else. But being able to move those big contracts really just is super important, especially when you have the new regime coming in and wanting to do their own thing and build the organization the way they want to build it. So being able to do that, plus getting young arms in return, is huge. Plus, we got the draft coming up here, and that I know we got 13th, which kind of sucks because
lucky number 13.
that was like almost worst case scenario, really, for what could have possibly happened.
No, worst case would have been falling in that route
six.
where we would have been, like fourth or fifth, where all of a
Or even
sudden
six,
now we
I think.
I'd love
lose.
to have a 4 or 5 pick though, because like I know we wouldn't be able to draft top 10 next season, but the fall off between like the first 6-7 guys to 13 is quite substantial. I mean, at least from
But next year there's no way that we're not going to be in that top six range. If you look at the percentages for the teams in that top five compared to any team outside of it, I mean, I think the Cardinals had projected the eighth pick, and we're only 2.4%. While the top three teams, I think, were within 15% of getting the number one pick. I think if we end up losing 95 games, like we kind of thought we would last year, but if we end up falling through and lose that many games next year, I think that's the year. And next year is supposed to be a lot deeper of a draft class for Baseball America.
I don't think it'll lose that many. I mean,
we
this
won't.
is
I think this
a little
team,
homerish, but
I agree with you. But everybody seems to think that we're going to kind of fall off a cliff, losing Miles Michaelis and Sonny Gray.
we're playing potential now over contracts, though, is the thing too. So like it's a fresh start, like for almost everyone on the team. Essentially, you got the young guys that have already been here are almost like the leaders now. Like the Mason Wins and the Alec Burlestons are going to be like the leaders of the clubhouse, bringing in this. Like Weatherholt's going to be up probably pretty soon to start the season, I would think.
I think I'll probably start the
if he
year.
doesn't break camp with the team. Gorman is kind of we don't really know. There's lots of interesting things that could still. I mean, we're still expecting an Arenado trade that hasn't happened yet. We're expecting the Contreras trade that hasn't happened yet. We don't know what to think of like Lars Nootbaar. We're not really sure. Nolan Gorman, we're not really sure. I don't think, like Trev said, not a lot of us expected Sonny Gray to be moved. That caught a lot of people off guard. So there's a lot of possibilities still.
Well, but the thing this year is we have a lot. The thing that will surprise a lot of people, we have a lot of talented youth playing for contracts now.
Right.
Ultimately, is what's happening. So this isn't just some, put together, you know, quad A squad that we're trying to like throw together. Like we have guys that actually are projected to be legit major league talents overall, including guys who are already up here in Win and Herrera. These guys are playing for their next contract. It's different than when you already have your, 15, $16 million a year contract. Ultimately, you're very motivated, you're skilled and whatnot. And like all of the media is again saying, hey, these guys are going to lose 90, 95 games. I honestly see like a major league situation in the dugout in the clubhouse where guys are like, you know what? Fuck everybody in the media. We're going to show them. We're going to win a bunch and we're going to have
That's a
fun
rallying.
fucking doing it at
That's
the
a
end of the
rallying
day.
cry for a lot of teams, man. There's a lot of young teams that's the rallying cry is the
It
as
is when
against the
you have
world
pride and talent
and
in
young
your
guys.
game.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Like when you believe that you're up here, like Weatherholt's going to come up here and he's going to like, fuck that. I'm going for rookie of the year. I know I can do it. I know I should have been the number one overall. I'm glad I'm with St. Louis, but fuck it. I'm going to prove to everybody that passed over me I'm better. I mean, he's been doing it all over the minor league system. What he got fall league player, offensive player this year, right?
Yeah, like Texas League player, something like that. I mean, then you look at like some of the other guys that are like on the cusp of breaking the roster too. Someone like Ryan Rodriguez kind of came out of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere because like a lot of Cardinals fans knew who he was, but nationally is like
Jo-
I
this
mean,
might
you
be
could
the
say that
best
about
hitting.
nationally about just about anybody of our guys
or
that's not
Yeah,
named like
Josh
Walker or
might be the best
Weatherholt.
hitting catching prospect in baseball now, and like just and
Josh
no one
Bias
knew who he
finally looked
was.
normal. Josh Bias had a 20 foot like a 2050 season this year.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Josh Bias too. This is someone we talked about 2 years ago. Zach, it's like, man, I really like that Josh Bias pick in the second round. It's like I think he could be something. He's got a super high floor. Just work on the
Well,
strikeouts, and he did.
just
And
imagine if we would have kept Jordan. I'm not hindsight's 2020, but Jordan Walker's 23. I think I want to say he's 21,
A-
22. It
Again, don't sleep on Walker this
I'm not
year.
sleeping on Walker
Again,
at all. I believe that with guys that talented, the point is to give him as many opportunities and at bats as possible because we don't want him at 26 hitting 45 home runs for the Red Sox or some shit. But it's it
him
goes
and
to show
Whittle
that
are
with
like
these
the
young
same age,
guys, dude,
right?
they just need at bats, dude. Like Walker never got a chance to fail. We saw with Josh Baez, he got a chance to kind of succeed a little bit, fail really, really hard for about a season and a half, go back to the complex league, I believe, and then just came out of it on fire. I think that even for Walker, again, there's no going back now. That would have been really, really important for him. It just goes to show what the Heim Bloom, just running the minor league organization, is capable of doing with developing guys and kind of getting them back on the right track and their confidence and just understanding what they need to do to be successful.
well, I
Yeah, I'm
think
sure this feels like a fresh start for him too. So yeah,
Brown
like
showed
you
he
said,
was a good addition to the staff last year on the offensive side. I liked how our offense played. I know we didn't get the results we wanted in a lot of games, but I really liked how our offense attacked a lot of pitchers. I didn't feel like we were caught off guard like we had been in
Or
previous
on our
years by a
hands on
lot of
our
guys.
sitting on our hands. It felt like a lot of times that the sixth inning, if we're down 3 runs the last few years, guys more or less give up. Is kind of the feeling that I think us as fans got. Just the fight wasn't there. The clubhouse or dugout just looked really quiet stuff. I think with these young guys and as exciting as they are, confident, it never really felt like we're out of a game or like you said, fuck that. Like we're not gonna lose kind of attitude. So that was really, really cool to see just from everybody.
Yeah. I mean, we made a little bit of a push at the end, obviously way too late, but you know,
And I'll say it here. Mason Wynn next year, I think, takes a huge step up offensively. That first year when he came up that September, obviously sucked, as we all know. The next year kind of got more consistency both defensively and offensively. Last year takes a huge step defensively. I think it all tracks, especially when you look at his minor league numbers, that we could look to see a big offensive jump. I'm not saying 20 home runs, but I wouldn't be surprised if he hit 15, 18 homers. I wouldn't be surprised if he hit a solid 290 with a closer to 800 OPS plus.
I mean, in a
OPS
perfect
plus,
world, though,
but
we wouldn't even need him to do that. It would be Walker and be Burley. It'd be
for sure. But
Ware carrying this
he's got
offense.
all the capabilities to do it. His bat to ball skills are awesome. He's shown in the minors that his power's really there. I think so much of last offseason was just focused on getting right defensively, which fuck, thank God. I mean, he's probably the best shortstop in the league last few years. Um,
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about
so
Brendan Donovan at all. He's our biggest trade chip, and we're still waiting to see what happens with him and what we get in return for him. It could change what our minors look like too.
I've heard everything from like a top 50 prospect to probably not nearly that much to maybe just
Yeah,
Noah
for Brian
Cameron
Wu.
to yeah Brian Wu, Noah Cameron to everything in between. I'm curious to see what his actual market value is because obviously once you get teams really wanting to move a guy and are motivated to, they're going to be dropping as much information as possible about how hot teams are on him and things like that. So it could, for us fans who aren't really in the rooms, get a really misconcepted way of how valuable a guy is or how the industry views them. But there's a good chance Heim Bloom's just dropping all these. Everybody's interested in him, or the price is super super high.
I
Obviously,
don't know like how much is
I
like
think
just
there
the
is
agents too, or
that
like building the
right.
value. Like, yeah, everyone's
That's what I was trying to
interested in
say.
him, you know? So,
Exactly. Like the NFL draft is known for doing that, the big smoke screens and stuff like that. Uh, but
Thing is that you'd get conflicting reports. You'd get conflicting reports. You'd have another person being like, "Oh, I talked to an executive and they're telling me the market is, cold on Donovan," or stuff like that. In MLB, you get enough executives talking to enough reporters that like people will tell you if something's bullshit usually, really quickly, ultimately. Like what we found out quickly about how wrong that, Shohei to Toronto was or whatever.
yeah,
Arson Judge,
Arson Judge,
Cassatt. Oh yeah, Judge, right?
Boob Nightingale. Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Young Cow Media. If you're a business that needs to reach real buyers, not just a broad audience, Young Cow helps you target podcast and streaming TV listeners while they're tuned in to voices they already trust. Smarter ads, better attention. Learn more at youngcowmedia.com. We did have a signing today in Dustin May.
Yeah, per Kathleen Wu, former Cardinals beat writer, now for the Dodgers. Dustin May. I like the move like for a couple reasons. For one, if and Zach and I were talking about this prior to the pod actually starting. He had some arm things also, but if his fastball sits in the 97 and 98 range, like it has in the past, he's really, really effective. And not only that, for a team like us that's rebuilding, like kind of retooling on the fly here, if we do stink, halfway through the season, that's another interesting trade piece for a contender. So I love it. It's a kind of move that Mo hasn't been making lately. That kind of signals we're moving in the right direction as an organization and rebuilding this
Mo
franchise.
doesn't make that move at all.
Yeah, he trades for like
That's Kyle
Kyle
Gibson.
Gibson.
Yeah.
What
There's
what are you doing to sign Dustin May when I don't know who else is that?
how
Rich
are
Hill
we
is
going to be
out there.
sure? How are we going to be sure he makes 25 starts with a 4.5 ERA? Okay, but no, there's some really interesting numbers with May. I think I was telling you before. I think there was first 30 appearances before his first Tommy John. I think he had a 2.94 ERA. As soon as he got done with the Tommy John, I think he tore his esophagus eating salad. So he's had to miss the entire season for that. So he's had some really weird shit going on. I think his career high for innings prior to this year was I think 54, and I think this last year was like 130. So even having another year to build off a full season after missing pretty much the last 2.5 years before that with kind of a freak injury and an arm injury, we'll just show that consistency and probably get that velo up like what you were talking about before. Just getting that arm care routine, having 2 years of strength and conditioning rather than just trying to get healthy for the most part, which is obviously the hardest part for any pitcher.
And it forces Palante out of the rotation. Ideally, we'll see.
Yeah, ideally we got either that or Leahy. I mean, we don't know if Leahy even actually sticks in there. I mean, I like the idea of Dick Fitz in the rotation.
he fits in the rotation.
Yeah, the Dick fits perfectly in the rotation. So I said before, so yeah, Dick Fitz those 96, 97. The advanced metrics on that sweeper are really, really good. So he's got one plus pitch, I'd say. The fastball sits high enough to keep guys honest. If he could just develop a good changeup, or the changeup he has, just make it a little bit better, I think we have a legit back end starter there that can has some strikeout stuff, which is something we've been lacking a lot.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked again about like some of our top pitching prospects hopefully making a push for the rotation.
We
Some
have
like
a
Matthews, like he
our
could. Depends on spring training.
our pitching system in general right now. Anybody from Braden Davis, Ixon Hernandez, we've had a lot of guys start popping off that look really,
Bryson
really good.
Mats.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to say it right. So
Add Brandon Clark to that list as well. Then Liam Doyle, I think will be there by maybe the end of 25, if not for sure 26, if he's what we think he is. I mean, there's a lot of there's still Tink Hintz, Cooper Derby. I think every person who's well knowledge in the Cardinals that I've heard from thinks Cooper Derby is fucking legit. It's like super, super good that they just been kind of holding him back. Obviously, with those arm injuries that he's had since college, it makes sense on why they're kind of being slow with him. But I think there's two starts before he had Tommy John this year where he would no had a no hitter going through five in Double A, and they just had to pull him just for pitch count stuff. I mean, this stuff is legit.
and speaking of guys with arm injuries too, I mean, there's still Tink Hintz who
That's I
Yeah.
mentioned him.
may come back. He was our top pitching prospect. The top was like top 30 prospect overall at one point, and just couldn't stay
His,
healthy.
his
Uh,
fastball curve plays in the bullpen as well. Just those two pitches alone, because he's electric.
Health, right? So
Right.
lots of possibilities though. We'll
Yeah,
see.
a lot of question marks. I mean, a lot of talent that's right in the double A, triple A realm right now. So it is curious to see how Bloom's evaluating everything and what moves he is going to make. Because again, this ship is now officially his. Everything before was just rumblings in the minor leagues and whatnot, but now he has actual control. So again, it's interesting to see. Like Mo probably would have kept to somebody like Sonny Gray. Bloom's like, nah, let's get you out.
For sure.
He has
We're
a
kind of
surety for
New,
next year. Yeah.
new era. Let's get some youth in. Mo was really big on having a vet presence on the team in order to help bring up younger guys. Bloom doesn't have that same view. He was in Tampa, man. Like once guys got big enough, like they shipped them out there.
yeah,
So
for
like
sure.
he's used to running with younger squads, getting them built up, getting them to understand their value and whatnot. So it's just going to be nice to see what he's able to do here, where he's actually able to then go and sign guys he wants two extensions. Where again in Tampa, like it was, oh, you got to move him now. And even when he went into Boston, they had a real big focus on shifting that payroll around. And it was like, hey, you got to get rid of guys
Mookie
that you
Mookie
maybe
Betts
don't want to.
immediately.
Yeah.
Like that
On the
is
Tampa comment though, I mean, how cool would it be though if he used his influence there to flip like a Donovan for a Shane Boz? Oh man, cinema, right? That'd be perfect. Probably
I,
won't, but it'd be cool.
I mean,
I,
there's a lot of change that's gone on in Tampa's ownership and executive level in the last decade since he's been there. So you got to wonder like what connections he still has up high and whatnot. But I mean, I would love to pull in some of Tampa's farm system in that because they still use a lot of, his setup there for evaluating, finding, and developing talent and whatnot. So
Yeah, the infrastructure is still there. I mean,
yeah, I
they've
really
operated the same way since inception. Really, they bring up the young guys, they make a run, they're good somehow, some way without spending any money. And then once those guys get close to hitting ARB or get hitting free agency, they flip them and they start over. And that's something Bloom's used to is rebuilding on the fly. Now we don't want to be that orga that rebuilds on the fly all the time, but we kind of need to do it this offseason while we still kind of have these veterans and these older contracts on the team. Ship them out,
yeah.
bring in young guys. Like the timeline fits perfectly for what we're trying to do because we have a lot of guys that are like right on the cusp or just like a couple years into the major league roster that could potentially take that next step into like all-star type players or hopefully superstar type players. I think Herrera could be like a superstar type bet if he gets a position. We'll see. But yeah, that like for what he's responsible for doing for this team is something that he's done before with less available to him. So
Yeah,
should
I was just
be
thinking about his
fun to see.
potential. So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was it. I'm good. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about his potential with the full capabilities of an ownership that's willing to back him financially. Yeah, we've seen that the Wits, when it's time to win, are willing to back the team financially and make big moves. I mean, we did trade for
Well,
Giancarlo Stanton. People tend to forget that we did make a $215 million offer to David Price. We
we brought
we're
in
not
we
made the
brought on Nato, we brought on Goldie, we
100%,
signed Wilson, we signed Sonny.
and we're not going to make them trade
We're
these guys as soon as they get
we're
to arbitration. We're not going to make them trade these guys. So we could just have a I know this is wishful thinking, a Dodgers type system where we have legit guys at positions, and if he still has that chain going, start
We
turning
got
them out.
catchers at the wazoo right now. So
What
somebody needs a
100%.
catcher.
So I mean, once we start developing three or four of these shortstops or something, and we have a Mason win there, if we just continuously do this, that's whenever we can start making big moves, and it'd be fun.
Oh yeah. Well, we got a few minutes left. Is I'm just going to open up the floor to like any other topics you guys want to discuss before we end.
Uh, I mean the draft. I guess I don't know. I don't even know who to look at 13 to be honest, because that's
The
kind of a
Borge,
good spot.
there's this
I'm
dude 6'6". He goes to Missouri State. So I went and watched a couple of the games this last year. He's like a freaking mountain of a man. He's projected to go between like 8 and 15. Yeah, he's a Missouri kid, so that's my pick. I need to figure out what his full name is real quick.
we get that comp pick at the end of the first round too, though, which is cool.
Absolutely.
Correct.
So we'll
Okay.
see. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I know Flores is still kind of running that ship, so it'll be interesting
See,
to see who we get.
the DeWitts were sitting there whining that none of us wanted to go to the games, but you're welcome. You know. So you one second about this.
Yeah, I mean, we still have a lot of time left in the winter meetings. So obviously we'll have a lot to chat about in our next sessions and that. But, you know, we've been one of the more active teams so far and one of the more mentioned teams
That's
ultimately.
exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, really, I think the what's holding everything up is probably this Kyle Tucker thing. It's holding up the market for everybody. And then like once he signs, more of these dominoes will fall into place. I think the Donovan market will heat up a lot. I think the Contreras market will heat up. He's linked to the Mets, which is interesting. We'll see like how that. I mean, it would be cool to get someone maybe like Kodai Senga back because that's some money they could kind of use to offset that because they just lost Pete Alonso. They're looking for a bat in the middle of the lineup,
Yeah.
um, which would be an interesting fit to see Contreras on the Mets over there. I mean, he plays first base now, so I don't know. It's just more speculation than anything right now. Need some action, and we can kind of really evaluate where we are.
Yeah, we have a lot of not top of the line, but like high tier utility guys that are there at the end of the day. So yeah, as
Yeah,
things
like
start filling
Noor,
up and
what's his
people miss
market?
out, yeah, as people miss out on their type prime targets, they're going to become more desperate. Somebody like, a new bar or a Donovan or Wilson is going to seem like a better bet, especially if Bloom's willing to throw a little money their way. And I don't mind throwing the money the team's way anyways, because like in Sonny's case, we were going to spend that, 20 million anyways on him, you know? Might as well
Yeah,
just ship it off to get better prospects instead of having the other team eat the whole contract for us
yeah,
and
exactly. It's
whatnot.
better to get talent in return for sure because you're going to spend that money either way. So might as well get some
Yeah,
talent.
it was already committed. So yeah, might as well get something back for it. But all right, perfect. So we'll go ahead and end that there. Thank you everybody for joining us for another episode of Birds on a Blue Note. Let us know any of your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you all next time. Take care.